Now, they say that you can judge a character of a person through the sporting arena, be it in golf, be it anywhere else. So, how do you achieve this in terms of the personal space, where you will not get swayed by anything and everything, just to achieve that goal? Finally, what are the best practices as far as you are concerned, either in life or in sports also?
Well, again, I think integrity is something which is very important. Sport is a great teacher because sports are bound by rules, and sport teaches you how to follow the rules. So I'm a great propagator of spreading sport to young people, because there are so many great lessons that sport teaches you. It teaches you to follow certain rules and stick within certain boundaries, and that is what was taught to me, and that is how I led my whole sporting career, and continue to do it in professional and personal life, is to be honest, have the right your heart in the right place, do things with complete amount of integrity. The shortest way to success, and everybody is looking for shortcuts, right? The shortest way to success is hard work, and you basically just have to work hard, push yourself to the limits every day, and that is the only shortcut that you will have to success.
Amazing shortcuts. I think this is the first time I'm hearing the shortest way to success is hard work. Great line. I think I'll use this line in my lectures also going forward, Abhinav. It is widely stated that human race is like crabs. They try to pull each other down instead of just to reach on the top. Just a takeoff from the last question only. So, have you faced such incidents in your own sporting career? And why do you think team effort is more important than individual goals? Because finally, we have to empower each other. As I said, Indra Nui had made 3 life lessons, and I really like those 3 life lessons, and I like to repeat them also. Is be a lifelong student, be passionate about what you do, and empower others who are around you. So, what according to you is team effort, and how much role has that played in your career?
Well, again, I think although I was in an individual sport, I had a
Exactly.
complete team. I had a complete team around me, and I think as I said, that for me, one of the most important things in creating that team was that I had to find positive people, because I myself was a very realistic person, bordered on negativity almost, but it was so very important to surround myself with positive people who believed in me, because there were days when I felt hopeless. There were days when I was failed very badly, but when I felt hopeless, my team continued to see a lot of hope in me. They were great believers in me, and in my hard work. And I think it is very important to build that right team with that right energy, and surround yourself with like-minded people, with people who will do anything to for good times and in bad. That is something which is very important. And you have to work with people. I gave a few examples early on with that coach of mine who I did not really who did not work with. But at a point of time, I had a big hierarchy and 9 people who I was working with at the same time, and I had to somehow become a manager of sorts, because yes, I was the athlete, but I also had to deal with 9 minds. And sometimes these 9 people and these 9 human beings did not really get along with each other. So I had to really work to sometimes set schedules when some of them who did not get along will not make eye to eye. But I had to keep them together. I had to keep the flock together. I knew that each one was there to support me, and each one was there to work on me. And I had to find a way to get the best out of them. Each one did not always, one person did not have the answers to everything.
But did that drain you
And
to
that is
manage
why
9 people, 9 egos, 9 emotions? Did that drain you instead of concentrating on your own, focus of?
Well, it was something that I had to gauge. I think yes, it took a little bit of energy, but knowledge and the positive aspects that I gained from 9 people who were working on different elements of my sporting distance. So there was a physiotherapist, there was a chiropractor, there was a coach, there was a mental trainer. So they were working on different areas of my performance, and each one brought some value to the table. And I try as the job to bring the best out of that knowledge and grasp what I needed to do. I was hungry. I was thirsty for this knowledge, and
So
it
need
was
also
then
which
left to me.
goaded you to keep this flock together.
Absolutely, because again, I've remained a very open-minded athlete, always willing to learn, always willing to hear different thought processes, always looking towards the science of it, always looking for reasoning. You know, when a certain coach told me something, I never ever took it on face value, and this was sometimes very hard for my coaches, because sometimes in sport you just have to take things on face value. I always questioned them, I always prodded them, and when they did come up with the right answers, and they did try to convince me, then I was all in. I truly believed in them. But it was about finding that, building that relationship of trust amongst these people, I think, was the most critical thing in the whole thing, because I had to then there was a point of time where I had to let go of my critical faculty and trust them wholeheartedly. And there comes a time in sporting performance when you have to do that. You know, when I go and compete in an Olympic final, I cannot be suddenly start to critique or start to doubt what they're saying. And that is a time to try and let go, and try and take that leap of faith. And that could only be achieved when that degree of trust was built between these individuals.
So Abhinav, you were really fortunate that you had your own private shooting range, but not many athletes in our country have many government programs or part of any training sessions, etc. You have started Abhinav Bindra Foundation just for that reason, and not only concentrating on air rifle shooting, but other sports also. If you wish to say something about your own foundation,
Yeah.
how is it reaching
I
out
mean,
to
yeah. So
athletes from
firstly, I'd like
different
to.
walks of?
Yeah, yeah. So firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that, a lot of work is being done in sport now. In the last couple of years, there is much more. The government is making sport a priority aspect, just because I think our demographic is so young, and sport is important to the young people, and you cannot no longer ignore it. So it is prioritizing. Our infrastructure is improving. My personal out Indian sport after my retirement is primarily through the Abhinav Bindra Foundation. At the foundation, we have three pillars on what we work at. The first pillar is of intervention, where we build these centers, high performance centers, which bring in cutting edge sports science and technology into athletes training and preparedness, which work on areas of performance enhancement, injury prevention, and injury management. We give out a scholarship program in our centers, which is called the STEAM Scholarship Program, STEAM standing for Science, Technology, Engineering, Analytics, and Medicine. And we try and incorporate all of that. And my primary outreach to this intervention is for grassroots level athletes. So I really would like to young athletes who are just starting out, because I do believe that is the time at that grassroots is where the most amount of effort and support is needed, because they need to start right, they need to build that strong foundation, and if they miss out on those formative years properly, things don't go so well. That is the number one thing. Number two is education. So it is not just about training athletes, but it is also about creating the ecosystem which surrounds Indian sport. We recently launched a sports medicine and research institute, where we are starting to offer courses in physiotherapy. In fact, the course just started today. Again, trying to bring in global best practice, bring in a top class faculty from India and abroad, and bring in basically the best global practice into this aspect as well. The second aspect of our education, a lot has been talked about administration in sport. You often hear of stories about poor administration and not great governance in sporting bodies. So we launched a program with partnership with another foundation, which is the EMS Foundation, and the University of Loughborough, which is considered the world's best sports university, to work on a program which will empower our sports administrators, again bringing in knowledge, bringing in international faculty from the most successful Olympic committees and Olympic nations and the brightest minds from across the world, to tell our administrators and teach our administrators and empower them with, again, global best practice on how to administer high performance sport. I think that was we started a course which was very successful, the first course, and we are going to go ahead on it. The third element of education we are working very closely is athlete mental health. Mental health is a very stigmatized subject in
Yes.
society. And in athletes in particular, it is even more stigmatized because there's a myth around athletes that athletes are strong and they have to be mentally very strong. But at the end of the day, athletes are human beings first, and then they become an athlete. And their human well-being has to be at the heart and center of performance. So we're doing a lot of work currently on advocacy and also bringing in mechanisms on how to create psychologically safe environments for athletes. That is the number 3 element of education. The last element of our foundation is doing work for using sport for good. And this project, we are currently doing a project which I'm particularly proud of. It is in collaboration with a former rival of mine, now a very good friend. He's a 3-time Olympic champion from Italy, Niccolò Campriani. And, you know, both of us were very touched and by the whole refugee cause, because the Rio Olympic Games saw the first ever international refugee team take part at the Olympic Games. These are people who've been through immense hardship in life, have no national affiliation, and are using sport to bring meaning to their life again. So Niccolò is based out of Switzerland. He works for the International Olympic Committee, and we started a program with a selection process through 25 refugees, and we picked 3 refugees, and we are attempting to make them athletes in the sport of shooting. They're already athletes, and we hope that they will qualify to be part of the international refugee team at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, which will now be held this year in July.
Which are the other
this is the work.
So which are the other sports arena which you are sponsoring through your foundations besides air rifle shooting?
No, air rifle is just shooting is just one element. We work with 20, 30, all Olympics, all sports. I mean, we have badminton players, we have from all sports, we have hockey players, every sport. So sports science is something which is across the board. It is not just specific to the sport of shooting. So our centers are based. Our centers, we have about. We said we have 5 centers. A big center in Bhubaneswar in Orissa. We have a center in Bangalore out of the Padukone Dravid Center of Sports Excellence. We have a center in Mohali. We have a center in Delhi. We have a center in Pune. So it is widespread and
amazing work. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.